Welcome to another episode of That Crazy Triangle Guy. Here I are looking at render versus US dollar on the 1 day time frame. Yes, 1 day. And we're looking at render because I got a little excited when I saw something earlier on a different chart. And we will get to that in a second. But what I do want to point out here is that we are seeing a rejection off of this line right here. This yellow or white or yellow line, whatever color it is, because I do have my blue blocker on my phone. So I don't know what color that is. Now, but we are forming, these white lines here are forming a pendant triangle, a symmetrical triangle right there. So yeah, we could come down here. And where is this symmetrical triangle headed to? It's headed to this green line here, which is the bottom of this parallel channel, this green parallel channel that render has been traveling upwards in since back here in, June of 2022. Wow. Long time. So, that's that. So I'm looking for render to continue in this, follow our purple line that it's been following since November, and following it pretty accurately here and up to there, up to the top of this yellow channel, back down to the bottom of the yellow channel. It did poke out the bottom here a little bit, but we're expecting it to come back up here to the top of that channel. And how long we're going to do that for, I don't know. Probably, yeah. What I did think that we would continue to do that into the halving and probably continue on leading up to our parabolic run, and at which point here in June or July, then we would start increasing more rapidly in this green, following the green parallel channel more closely. So I'm going to, before I switch to the other chart, on the daily here, and note that on the RSI, render did a couple days ago cross up through the moving average here. That's good. I like that. And on the weekly, we are about to cross. So these are all things that I think is indicating what's about to happen. So we're about to end this week, and on this next week, we could cross up through here. I'm going to switch to another chart now. So first of all, note down here, render, this is the BBWP. Render is pretty low on the BBWP, on the what am I looking? What's the word I'm looking for? Volatility, but not quite under the 10% threshold, but pretty low. Maybe that changes in 21 hours and breaks below that cutoff, which I don't know. That's just a human made-up name, but the point is it's pretty low on the volatility. Looking for an expansion from there. And things are indicating that expansion will be upwards. So we're on the 2-day time frame. I don't necessarily want to stay on there. We can switch back to the 1 day. Now, I've pointed out in a previous video that all the altcoins and the total 3 market and Ethereum and Bitcoin are either forming a 1.5 year long or year long, what have you, cup and handles or ascending triangles, or the same kind of a bullish indicating kind of pattern. And this isn't surprising because we're coming out of the bear market and heading into our parabolic bull run in just a few months here. So now, whether we're forming, I'm debated here on a lot of these, whether this is the handle that we are forming or if this is just a pullback and we come up a little bit further before we kind of see a greater, more extended, not a greater, but a more extended pullback and maybe more sideways, not as steep. So that's what I'm wondering. I'm on the edge of the fence about that. Clearly, we could come up a little bit higher here. The history of render doesn't go back that far, so we could even come all the way up to about $7 to $8 almost before seeing a more extended pullback. You know what? What about the top of our channel? What about $6? Where would that be over here? Certainly, yeah, certainly that's possible. That would kind of be this last little edge here before, yeah, that'd be this last little edge here. So, that's, that's adding to what I believe is occurring here on all of these things, that we see one more push to the upside before a more extended and more sideways pullback handle forming pattern heading into the halving here in April. I don't think that we're ready to keep going in this channel, all the way to April in this channel, forming a big old handle like that. That's just ridiculous. That'd be back down to $1.48. That's so looking at that here, that's just crazy. I think this is a pullback. Have one more run at it, and then a more sideways pullback into April before. Oh, I'm looking at this chart. That makes perfect sense. So the halving is over here, about here. That would be a price of about $4.20 where we're at now. But coming from here, $6 to $4.20. Maybe, yeah. I think that's a very likely situation here. Now, why am I so focused on render? Because I'm looking at all these handle patterns that are being formed, and we're on a weekly now. Let's go to a daily, because I actually don't have this channel drawn. See, if I click on the channel, if you want to draw these channels and be able to have them stay put through various time frames, hourly, weekly, daily, whatever, you have to start them and stop them on a Monday at 00 hours, I've learned. And you can see here at the bottom of your screen that this one starts on Monday, but it ends on a Wednesday. So when we go to a weekly, it throws it off a little bit. I just kind of do this without apparently following those rules. And those are rules that I've learned as we've gone along. So this might have been drawn before that. But you can see, so drawn on a daily time frame, and you can see that it obviously wasn't drawn on a weekly, otherwise it would have hit the Monday and Monday. But so it's drawn contacting this candle wick here, this here. The center line hits these points, these wicks here on these candles. We have this candle wick here, this candle wick here. This one shoots through it a little bit. This candle wick almost hits it here. We have this candle wick on the center line, this one on the center line, and these others hitting on the center line. So it gets as many of these wicks on the center line as possible. And looks like it pretty well defines this this move here, this price action here, oscillating up and down. And what we've done here, you can see, is that we've broken out of it. So that's why I was excited about this. And it looks like it was pretty well planned out, that we came right up to there, and with the next day, this today, we started a new candle almost right on top of that. So it looks like a clear breakout from that pattern. Now, as I pointed out on the other chart, that we are forming, and so you know what, I have to go to like a 4 hour maybe to see this pattern here. Why isn't it as... Oh, okay. I just wasn't squished in enough. So we have this... where's my thing? It's down here. I moved it out of the way. We do have that triangular pattern here. So we did get a rejection off of that. So this is conflicting too. We've broken out of this parallel handle-ish pattern, which I don't think is the actual handle yet. So we have broken out of there, but yet we're still confined by this triangular pattern. So watch for a breakout above 430 on render. And I think that will indicate what is going to happen with the rest of the market. Let's switch to like AVAX or something, because AVAX is another one that's doing the same thing, and it's formed quite an extended pullback here. Now it is at 34. It's about to hit the top of this channel right here, and that's at around 36. So if you see render go above 430, AVAX go above 436. But be careful, because it did come out of the top of this channel a little bit right here. But, you know, I tried to get as much of the price action as possible with, you know, bounces off the center line here to the top and to the bottom, and the wicks here on the top and bottom. Just draw these things as best you can, getting in as much of the data as possible, and you can never get it perfect. I think I get them pretty damn close describing the price action, although you do have little things going outside every once in a while. So look for those things, because I do believe we have one more move to the upside here. Let's see what this would be if we did move. Well, I'm just noticing right here, if we move from here up to this center line. Oh, that's a lot. That's 144%. I don't think we're ready for a move like that. That would be crazy. Let's zoom out a little bit and see what we're really looking at. Yeah, that would be, I don't know. Wow. And where would that take us? That might be coming later on down the road, take us up to $84. Yeah. Although, you know, we were here at 50, you know, just a few weeks ago. So I don't know. Who knows? That's crazy. Now let's go back to render, because I do want to point out that, well, I'll just tell you, I don't have to go to render. A move from 420 where we're at right now up to $6 is it's a 40% move. I measured it earlier. Now what are we looking at? Total 3. See, they're all forming these handle patterns or pullback patterns. Right now the total 3 is at 480, and a breakout from here would occur at, you know, this is angled, so depending on when it occurs, about 500. Let's just say 500 billion would indicate a breakout from here on the total 3. And let's see what a 40% move would do. Now, when I measured render, I don't think it was quite 40%. It was almost. So from where we are at currently, up 40%. It would take us about to the center line of this channel. Let's see if that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Look at how we traded in this channel since October. Really, since the end of October. We've been trading in the bottom portion of this channel like that, and we briefly pulled back out of it. So move back into the center of this channel to about 630-ish. Makes a lot of sense. 650 makes a lot of sense to me. And then I'm looking for maybe mid-February before we see that pullback. Into April. Pause. All right, we're looking at Bitcoin versus US dollar on the Bitcoin index on the daily time frame. Now, in my previous video, I did predict that we are kind of forming a reversal pattern here. Head and shoulders, not quite. The neckline doesn't go up. There is no neckline really. But the top of this channel would be a neckline if the head had more of a head to it. Or, you know, if the head went all the way to that line. It's not. But so this would be the crucial area here, just like the others. And I failed to mention this on the previous video. So right around, depends on what day we are on. But we want to do it earlier in the week. So yeah, so probably, you know, right around 44.6, and maybe it tries to cross this line at the same point as this this white dashed line, which was a resistance / support, not much of a support. So yeah, that's around 44.6-ish, 7. So look for a struggle to occur right around this area, and if we break above that, and definitely if we break above this blue line here, which is the bottom of our blue parallel channel, it's also the supporting trend line that goes all the way back to January of 2023. If you draw that line, that's what that is. And I will go back here. You can see here, it supports here, it's support here, and it's support back here. So that's what that line is. So definitely if we're breaking back up into there, that would be confirming more that we probably do continue on up to here, as I predicted, about up to 60,700, give or take a few thousand, couple thousand. Now, if we don't see that, if we get a rejection here, though, look out. But I'd be very careful in this area for fake outs and shakeouts and breakouts and makeouts and what have you. Because if we don't successfully break out through the top of this channel, then what we're doing, there's a good chance that we are just continuing to oscillate in this channel. And everybody that's saying, oh, we're going to hit 30,000, could be right. That we just keep going in this channel all the way down to 31,000 at the halving. Now, just because I have this stupid channel that goes all the way, actually, you know, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, Just because there's a channel there doesn't mean we're going to keep following the channel. Just like all these other channels back where there, we don't keep following. We come out of them, we come back into them, we play around with them. Because if we just kept following this channel, we just keep going down and down and down, and eventually we'd be by the end of the year, we'd be down at 13,000. We'd be back where we started 2023 at, or ended 2022 at. We don't want to do that. So I find it highly unlikely that that's going to happen. I do not think we're going to 30,000 at all. I think we're bouncing. I think we bounced right here and we are headed up. That's what I think. But I do think that there is a chance that we see a little more continued downside, or possibly, maybe at least, we do see an oscillating in this triangular region here, bounded by the top of our white parallel channel here at about 40,000-ish, and the top of this green channel here, which is between 44 and 42. 41. We could see that for a little bit more. But I do think we got one more run, one more rally up before we see this pullback here from about 60,000 to 48,000, like that. And the other thing I want to mention is these Bitcoin ETFs. We're seeing an unprecedented amount of demand for Bitcoin. And I've discussed this in videos, and I'm sure you've seen many other people discussing about, the Grayscale selling off and everybody else sucking it up, and the sell-off from Grayscale is drying up, and the demand for Bitcoin is just going to be so phenomenal. It is phenomenal right now. It's just being offset by the selling from Grayscale, and that demand will continue throughout the rest of the year, from here on out. So, just, that's all I have to say about that. We're going to look back at this. This is nothing right here, and that's why all these people I've seen, all right here in the sideways action right here. Look at how volume has increased. Get all that stuff out of the way. Look at how volume has increased right here. You can see with the blue moving average how much volume is here and how much right here. Everything's getting bought up since the beginning of the year at 40,000, and even back here in December. In December all the way through now, everything's getting bought up at 40,000. Which is why I thought we were never going to close that gap. That was a miracle that we closed that gap at 39.6. But yeah, we did. But so the reason all this is getting bought up at 40,000 is because this is chump change. In the long run and in the very near future, 40,000 is chump change for this asset. All right, like, subscribe, and see you next time.